Attention passionate Atlanta, Falcons fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC South and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Atlanta Falcons' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Atlanta Falcons fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Atlanta, FALCONS, FANS. Let's get to the news now, guys. Hold on to your hats because the NFL rumor mill is buzzing about a potential blockbuster trade that could reshape the NFC South. And it involves none other than T. Higgins from the Cincinnati Bengals heading to the Atlanta Falcons. Yes, you heard that right. This isn't just some idle speculation. Reputable sources like Adam Schefter are indicating there's serious buzz about this move, possibly as soon as the end of December 2025. And let me tell you, if this happens, it's a game changer for Atlanta. We're talking about adding a true vertical threat, a big play receiver, someone who can elevate the Falcons' passing attack to a whole new level. Right now, the Falcons are sitting at an 8-9 record, and while that might not look like a playoff team on paper, there's real potential here, especially if they bolster that passing game. Their aerial attack has been somewhat inconsistent, averaging around 205 yards per game, which isn't bad, but it's not enough to truly scare opponents. And with the current injury struggles, Dorless dealing with a hamstring injury and questionable for the next game, Hughes on IR with an ankle issue, the depth at wide receiver is critical. Plus, their passing efficiency, as measured by PFF at 76.8, leaves room for improvement. They've been relying heavily on the run game and short passes, but adding a receiver like Higgins could be the spark that ignites a more explosive offense, similar to what the Eagles experienced with A.J. Brown in 2022, boosting their passing yardage by over 250 yards in some games. Now, let's talk about Higgins himself. This guy is a true vertical threat, a red zone nightmare and a contested catch specialist. Think of him as a high-rise receiver who can go up and pluck the ball out of the air with those incredible hands. He's got the size, the athleticism, and the hands to dominate those 50-50 balls. Over his career, Higgins has accumulated 365 receptions, over 200 receiving yards, and 37 touchdowns, a pretty solid tally for a player still in his prime. His yards per reception sit comfortably at 14.5, and his yards after catch, YAC, total over 580 yards, averaging 4.3 yards per attempt, which is elite. His yards per route run is a staggering 2.4, ranking among the top in the league, and his PFF grade hovers around 88.5, reflecting his reliability and high-level play. In 2025 alone, Higgins has already put up some impressive numbers, 53 catches for 779 yards and 10 touchdowns, with a catch rate of 66.7%. And crucially, he's been healthy since last season, avoiding injuries that have hampered him before. His red zone touchdown rate at 25% makes him a real red zone threat, and his success versus press coverage at 62% shows he can win against the best defenders. For the Bengals, they're in a bit of a tricky spot financially. They've got around $12 million in cap space, but face a massive dead cap hit of $72 million in 2026, which forces them to make tough decisions. Their priority now is rebuilding their offensive line, but trading Higgins for a first-round pick in 2027 could be a smart move, especially if it helps them acquire more cap space and draft capital. So why would the Falcons be interested? Well, first off, adding Higgins would give Atlanta a legitimate deep threat, something they've lacked since the days of Julio Jones. His ability to stretch the field and make those big plays, think 40-plus yard catches, could turn the Falcons' offense into a much more explosive unit. With Desmond Ridder now getting more comfortable under center, Higgins could be the perfect target to unlock that next level. Plus, with the Falcons' cap situation being tight, about $3 million in available space, they'd need to restructure some contracts like Pitts to create room. But the potential payoff is huge. Higgins could easily top 100 yards this season, and with his EPA per target rising to 0.22, he'd be a consistent weapon on every play. And let's not forget the big picture here. The Falcons are aiming to contend for a playoff spot and beyond, and adding a player of Higgins' caliber could make them a true aerial threat. His big play rate of 16%, meaning 40-yard plays or more, could help Atlanta break games open, especially in close matchups where every point counts. His yards after catch are projected to increase by around 350 yards with the right scheme, and his presence would open up the field for Kyle Pitts and Drake London, creating mismatches and giving Ritter more options. Now, from a strategic perspective, this move could be similar to what the Dolphins did with Tyreek Hill, an aggressive move to transform the offense into a top-tier aerial attack. It could boost the Falcons' Super Bowl odds from around plus 9,000 all the way down to plus 4,200, reflecting their increased chances of making a deep postseason run. Higgins would be a perfect X-factor in the playoffs, much like Evans was for the Bucs in 2020, especially in the red zone, where his 25% TD rate in 2025 shows he's money when it counts. Looking at the NFC South, this move could shake up the division. The Panthers and Saints are building their own young cores, but the Falcons adding Higgins would make them a serious contender in the passing game. It's about elevating the entire offense and establishing Atlanta as more than just a run-first team. They'd become a balanced, explosive squad capable of winning shootouts and controlling the clock with their aerial attack. If this trade goes down, it signals that the Falcons aren't messing around. They're all in on competing now, not just rebuilding. Their coaching staff and front office see the potential to make a serious playoff push, and Higgins is exactly the kind of player who can help turn those ambitions into reality. Now, of course, there are questions. Will the Bengals prefer to rebuild through the draft and cap management rather than move Higgins? Will Atlanta be willing to part with a future first-round pick in 2027? And how will Higgins adapt to a new system and a different team culture? Those are the big questions that will be answered in the coming weeks. But if this trade materializes, it's a clear statement that the Falcons are serious about contending, about making a deep playoff run, and about finally establishing themselves as a true offensive powerhouse in the NFC. This potential move also highlights the strategic thinking happening behind the scenes. Both teams are trying to optimize their rosters for future success. The Bengals, facing cap constraints and a rebuild, might see trading Higgins as a way to secure draft capital and cap relief. The Falcons, on the other hand, are looking to accelerate their competitiveness, adding a proven playmaker who can change the complexion of their offense overnight. It's a bold gamble, but in the NFL, those are often the moves that define eras. And let's not forget that Higgins' style of play fits perfectly with Atlanta's offensive philosophy. He's a guy who can win against tight coverage, use his size and athleticism to make contested catches, and make those game-changing plays that swing momentum. His career YAC of over 580 yards demonstrates how much extra yardage he gains after catching the ball, which is exactly what the Falcons need to keep drives alive and put pressure on opposing defenses. With the right scheme, Higgins could easily hit those 100-yard benchmarks, and his big play ability would be a perfect complement to London's route running and Pitt's mismatches. So fans, keep your eyes peeled because if this trade happens, it will be one of the biggest moves in the NFL this offseason. It could be the catalyst that pushes the Falcons from a decent team into a serious playoff contender. The addition of Higgins could be the missing piece that finally helps Atlanta break through and make a deep run in the playoffs, maybe even snagging that elusive Super Bowl appearance. It's an exciting time to be a Falcons fan, and I can't wait to see how this story unfolds. Remember, trades like these don't just add talent. They send a message to the league that Atlanta is ready to compete at the highest level, and they're not afraid to make bold moves to get there. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Atlanta Falcons news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. And now, Atlanta Falcons fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this potential trade? Are you excited about adding Higgins to the roster? Do you think it's the move that could push Atlanta over the top? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion really matters to us and to the Falcons organization. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Atlanta Falcons news. This is shaping up to be one of the most interesting off-seasons in recent memory, and I can't wait to see how it all unfolds. Keep supporting your Falcons, stay passionate, and let's keep dreaming big because the best is yet to come.